The Seahawks and Giants have been put in a pretty tough spot. Now, in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'll provide a rundown of the crazy events of the past several weeks, just because I like you guys that much. But I think to do this, we have to take a trip back to April of 2019, so strap in because it's quite the ride. In the 2019 NFL Draft, the Giants selected cornerback Deandre Baker from the University of Georgia after making a trade up with, ironically, the Seahawks. Baker was considered one of the best corners in the class and started 15 games in the 2019 season. Baker's season, like so many other rookie corners, was shaky at best. In coverage, Baker allowed 6 touchdowns, 587 air yards, and a passer rating of 116, but still had future potential after being a high-caliber investment for New York. The other half of the story comes from the Seahawks, who in the 2019 offseason traded a 5th-round pick for cornerback Quinton Dunbar from the Redskins. Dunbar had a breakout season in 2019 and was shaping up to be a promising second outside corner for Seattle. But unfortunately, it seems that their promising future has washed up for the time being. While at a house party in Florida, Baker and Dunbar committed armed robbery, holding partygoers at gunpoint while they stole cash and watches during what appears to be a high-stakes gambling game before they fled the scene. This came just 2 weeks after another party in the area where they allegedly lost $70,000 while gambling. Arrest warrants were quickly placed on the two men, and in the next several days they turned themselves in. However, they are both continuing to plead not guilty in court. But what does this news mean for both teams' corner play on the field in 2020? So let's start with the Giants and analyze some corner options for this team. Immediately upon looking at the hole this situation created in the cornerback room, I think that this team needs to sign a veteran presence. Many of the corners on this roster are young developmental projects for this team, or players best suited for a nickel role. Players on roster like Corey Ballantyne, Sam Beal, and Darnay Holmes are not ready to start at this time. And while I like Darnay Holmes, who is this team's 4th round draft pick this year, he is better suited for the slot, and I don't know if he would do well stepping to the outside role that Baker occupied. So after an internal look at the existing depth chart, I really think that this team needs to sign a remaining free agent if they hope to get better on defense this year, so long as one of these young corners doesn't turn heads at training camp and during the preseason. The mold that we need to be looking at for this team is a corner who is comfortable playing in man coverage, as with the signing of former Dolphins defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, we can expect this team to run man coverage often. And the first free agent option is Aqib Talib, and I'll start with the pros of making a signing like this. First, Talib is very comfortable playing man coverage. He's primarily played his best football in man coverage schemes where he was once able to erase receivers. Bringing in a well-versed veteran could also help this relatively young and inexperienced corner group learn and grow as players. However, there are still plenty of red flags for a signing like this. Talib is 33 years old, and it is showing. The last 2 years, Talib has battled injuries, playing only 8 games for the Rams in 2018 and only 5 in 2019. And in those games, Talib was clearly not the caliber of player he once used to be. Talib probably struggled the most in 2019, allowing 182 air yards, 3 touchdowns, and a passer rating of 113 in only 5 games. Still, this signing might prove worth it to see what Talib still has left in the tank and buy some time before one of their young corners is forced into a starting role. Another option on the market is one that this team is already familiar with in Ross Cockrell. Cockrell was with the Giants during the 2017 season where he played pretty poorly in his 9 starts. However, Cockrell showed signs of improvement last year with the Carolina Panthers, where he played a hybrid role of safety and corner, grabbing 2 picks and only allowing a passer rating of 68 when targeted. Cockrell is a mediocre corner option, but might just be what this team needs to bring in and compete with the younger guys on roster over the summer. Finally, another player worth considering is Logan Ryan, and while he is better suited for a slot role, he is familiar with playing in man coverage and might be worth a look on the outside. However, he is rumored to be signing with the Jets after June 1st. And while all these signings wouldn't be instant turnarounds for this Jets defense, they certainly would help fill out a corner depth chart in need of a spot starter. After what seems to be a loss of Dunbar for the season, This Seattle corner room is looking rough in terms of depth. And while this team could certainly sign a player to add more depth, I think that to find a starter, they should take the opposite approach of the Giants. Trey Flowers is a corner already on this roster who has started for the previous 2 years and who I think should be this team's other outside starter heading into 2020. Flowers struggled as a rookie in 2018, but last year took a step forward in terms of his playing ability. Flowers was targeted an absurd 108 times in 2019 and only allowed 60% of those passes to actually be completed. Throughout the year, he also grabbed 3 interceptions and only allowed 421 air yards and a passer rating of 72 and only 1 touchdown. And I don't think that you can find any better corners in free agency that will fit the Seattle cover 3 scheme. I think that if this team wanted to take a shot on a free agent corner, it might be worth taking a look at Trumaine Johnson, who was released by the Jets this offseason. He is that lengthy zone corner that fits this scheme. However, the last couple of seasons, he has put pretty bad tape on display and ended up benched this year because of it. I am worried that he might be asking for too much money for what he's worth, considering how grossly overpaid he was by the Jets. But if he is willing to come and compete for a starting job in Seattle, that is the free agent pickup I would be looking to make. However, I do think that this is an example of next man up, and I think that Flowers can be a pretty decent player in this secondary. Well guys, that's going to do it for today. I do want to sincerely thank you for watching and enjoying the content, and I hope to see you back next video. With all that said, this is Fast, signing off with a Mile High Salute.